Well, the stop and frisk, the way it was analyzed by the great former Chief Judge of the Supreme Court, Earl Warren, in Terry versus Ohio in 1968, said that there are rules and regulations you have to follow in order to have an appropriate stop. You have to be able to articulate very, very clearly that you have reasonable suspicion to believe that someone was committing a crime. When you pass that threshold, the next thing is you have to, before you can search someone, you have to articulate a reasonable suspicion as to why you're able to search someone, because you're in fear or danger. Now, hey, we've been, and for those police officers who've been here, you know that since 1999, we have been lecturing police officers in Brooklyn on the Fourth Amendment search and seizure violation. We have added the Terry case to our curriculum so people will understand how you're supposed to use stop and frisk. You know, none of the DAs get any of the stop and frisk cases to speak of. 90% of them result in no contraband seized. In those cases where they are seized, and that falls to the special narcotics prosecutor, in those cases where the contraband has been seized in connection with the search and seizure, our assistants are very, very careful in the way they examine those cases, and in fully 40% of the cases, we have dismissed the charges and returned the fingerprints and the photos to the person who's arrested.
Are you in favor of there were two parts to that question. Are you in favor of it? And if so,
I'm in favor of stop and frisk used within the rules of Terry versus Ohio by Judge Warren. Do I favor an appeal? I have no authority to tell Bloomberg not to appeal. He can do everything he wants. He's proven that over and over again.
That was 2 minutes, and so exactly, Mr. Thompson, I want to give you 2 minutes as well to respond.
Well, we all know what the standard for stop and frisk is. It is based on an officer, according to the Supreme Court in Terry, an officer must have reasonable suspicion to stop someone. In order to search them, they must believe that the person is armed and dangerous, and they must have reasonable and articulable suspicion that the person is armed. It can't be based on a hunch, like they must see a bulge or the handle of a gun. Now, if those are the standards that govern stop and frisk, then how is it possible that in the 4-year period, on an 8-block stretch in Brownsville, there were 50,000 stops and only 25 guns recovered? How could that be based on reasonable suspicion? And we all know about the secret recording made of that police commander up in the Bronx who was talking to his roll call and told him, go out and stop young black men. That was said by a police commander in New York City. So I have a young family. My wife, LaShawn, is sitting right there. We have 2 young kids, a daughter, Kennedy, who's 8, and a son, Kenny, who's 6. We live right down the street. I care about gun violence. I've lost friends to gun violence. Gun violence is not an academic exercise for me. And nor is stop and frisk, because my son, Kenny, is 6 today, but he's going to be 16 before I know it. And I shouldn't be afraid when he walks out the door about whether he's going to be stopped and frisked and put in custody. So I support it if it's done the right way, but clearly it's not being done the right way. Judge Shira Shimlin showed that in a decision the other day. Now, with respect to whether we should pay for an appeal, I think her decision is sound. And I think what we should do is deal with reality and not waste taxpayer money by appealing that decision. That is my position.
Very good. Under 2 minutes. I like that. We're talking about guns, so I'm going to go right to the gun buyback programs that I know both of you gentlemen support, unless you changed that over the last couple of days.
Well, I'm allowed to change it. I've been doing it.
Okay, I mean, I don't know. You know, sometimes people say, oh no, I changed my mind. So, Jeff, because we're talking about gun violence, and we have a very unique audience here. I mean, because there are people from the community, but there are also officers here. So we're talking to a very unique community. Will you continue to do the gun buyback programs, and do you think they actually work? I had a conversation with Mr. Slade. He says it's grandma and grandpa turning in their musket guns and not the young kids turning in their 9mm.
I'm not surprised if Bob would say that. I'm a long admirer of Bob. He says those flip things. we've been buying guns since 2002. We started with Turning It for Benjamin. And the folks would come to the lobby of our building at 350 J Street with a gun. It was operable. They got $100. We had the face of Ben Franklin. My clergy liaison, Joe Joe Jones, is the only clergy liaison in the city, maybe in the state. And it was Joe's idea to move the gun buyback program into churches. He said it would raise the level of comfort that people have. It has been remarkably successful. In 33 separate events since 2008, we've taken 2,837 guns off the streets of Brooklyn. My colleagues have followed the program, and we have now taken in sum more than 11,000 guns. Does it work? Sure. Getting guns off the street. Does grandma, grandpa turn into guns? Sure. But why is that so bad if grandma or grandpa turning in the guns, not muskets, turning in guns, you should see some of the muskets, that they find in their grandchildren's bedroom. And by the way, I have a better idea about stop and frisk. I call it stop and search. You know, a child has no constitutional right to keep mom and dad out of the bedroom. Stop searching the bedroom. They would pick up some more guns. Probably get more guns.
Very good. Another 2 minutes. Mr. Thompson, I know you have started a few, or you've talked about it. What do you think about these gun buyback programs, and are they successful, and can you make them more successful?
Yes, we can make them more successful, but the gun buyback programs are not a panacea. We need to have a comprehensive approach to the gun violence that is literally killing our children before our very eyes, from Brooklyn to Chicago to New Orleans. Now, I started a gun buyback, I helped launch a gun buyback program in March called Guns for Greatness. Now, there was some dispute at the last 2 debates that we had over this program, but I'm going to give you the facts. The facts are, an entertainment executive named Blue Williams came to me and said, Ken, I want to get these guns out of the hands of these young criminals who are killing people here in the city. I helped draft the proposal that we sent to Police Commissioner Kelly. I met with Chief Banks. I met with Deputy Inspector Carrasco. We got the NYPD to approve this program where we got at least $20,000 we raised from the private sector. We gave it to the police department to hold this gun buyback program. We held it at my church, Christian Cultural Center, known as CCC, on March 30th, and 115 guns returned in 6 hours. The first person to walk through the door with a gun was a father. He said, I pulled this gun out of my son's backpack, and I want to bring it in, because I want to save my son's life. We got an assault weapon off the streets. We got an assault shotgun. Now, what's interesting is this DA had nothing to do with Guns for Greatness. He came into that church that day with his deputy campaign manager, Tahaka Robinson. So he was campaigning when he came to CCC that day during the gun buyback program. And when Police Commissioner Kelly held a press conference to congratulate us for it, he walked into that press conference when he knew very well that I was the key person to put it together and help launch it for Blue Williams. Look, the point I'm making is we have to go beyond the traditional gun buyback program. He said that his gun buybacks are not designed to get guns out of the hands of young criminals. He wants to get guns out of the hands of older people who have been hidden in their homes and in their cars. I want to get guns out of the hands of these young criminals who shot those 3 young boys in Fort Greene Park the other day and killed 2 of them. When I stood with the victim's mother and looked her in the eyes, I had an obligation as Brooklyn DA to try to get the guns out of the hands of these young men who are killing and maiming our children.
All right, very good. And I'm watching the time because I have an iPhone. It was 2 minutes, 16 seconds, so that's how I'm watching it. It seems long.
I am going to get a chance.
You have your 2 minutes, and that's why I said
that's just silly. Just silly. We have had the gun buyback program in cooperation with the NYPD, with Ray Kelly for all these years. And couldn't have the gun buyback programs without. Now, A.R. Bernard, who is a person I have great respect, he allowed us to use his church for that gun buyback program. I don't know what Ken's talking about, the 20 grand he brought and paid for those guns. I don't know what the hell I did with the money, and Kelly did with the money, because we gave $200 bank card for each and every one of those guns that were brought in that day. The next day, Ken shows up and went to the police plaza, and re-announces this Guns for Greatness program. And he hasn't told us of a single event that he's had since then. It's all fake. And you know, when he talks about he has all this experience, did you once hear him say anything about supervisory experience? He didn't, because he has none.
All right.
That's the way he argues.
Dean, can I go?
Hold on, Dean, hold on. Wait, that was 1 minute. I'm gonna allow you to respond, but see, they're on my back, and they said they don't want, you know, what happened on New York Water and St. Francis to happen on my watch.
We're having a New York one. We had a nice chat on New York.
A nice chat, okay, it was exciting, I tell you that. But go ahead and respond, because I don't think we're gonna solve.
We're not gonna solve. Look, we all know that Joe Hines has written about 3 books of fiction. But this is not the place for fiction. We gave $20,000 to the New York Police Foundation to buy those guns, get those guns off the street. That is a fact. How did the gun buyback get done in my church? Because I played a key role. Guns for Greatness is not my program. I helped launch the program in Brooklyn and turned it over to Blue Williams. So at the end of the day, I am an attorney in private practice, and I was able to get 115 guns off the street. Imagine when I become Brooklyn DA. See, I called on the private sector. I went to Hot 97. We went into the Source magazine to target those young brothers in Brownsville and East New York who are killing people at the drop of a dime. So, and when I get in, I'm going to call on the private sector to give us money to get these guns off the street.
Very good.